Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So I'm sick, and like any well-adjusted individual, the way I'm dealing with being sick is by looking at things that are gonna make me feel more sick and also sick in a different way. So welcome. On the cesspool that is Twitter, I came across a video that really appealed to the Chris Hansen in me, and you know what, we're just gonna watch it together and you'll see. Apologies in advance, my neighbor's dog keeps barking.
It's the start of the summer holidays, and for this age gap couple, a chance to unwind.
Love camping because it's peace and quiet. I'm Andy and I'm 47.
And I'm Beth and I'm 19.
First of fucking all, I don't understand why they have to be called an age gap couple. It's obvious they have an age gap. This guy looks like he's her dad. But aside from that, I feel like they're trying to, I don't want to say normalize, because I don't think there's a problem inherently with age gaps if everyone is of a consenting age. It's like they're trying to reassure the person watching that this is just an age gap couple. It's not like he's a pedophile or anything. So already that, no. Like I said, I don't think that inherently there's a problem with age gap couples, but I think there's a problem with this one, and you'll see why in a second.
Their 28-year age gap may make them look like father and daughter, but they are every bit a married couple.
Oh, my dearly beloved is going to set up the doghouse. When I get told off, I'll have to go and live in the tent for a bit.
Andy was originally a friend of Beth's mum, and over the years became close to her children too.
He was a friend of her mother, and he became close to the children too. How fucking creepy is that of a thing to say about a grown-ass man becoming so close with a daughter, in fact, that they get married? Like, how close was he with the other children? And more importantly, when did he start getting this close? Because to me, that's creepy as fuck. Like an old dude that potentially saw these kids from like their infancy until they grow up. Like, I don't know when he became a friend of the family, but they got together when she was 16, so if he's been a family friend, even for just a year, that's creepy as fuck that he's like seeing her go through the stages of puberty and everything, and he's just like,
so when is this less legal?
That is so fucking creepy. The idea that a person that sees you grow up then becomes your significant other, this reminds me of Woody Allen. And also Friends, that episode in Friends, I know that people in the comments were like, oh, you guys are so mad about this age gap, but you were okay with the age gap in Friends. So in Friends, there's this episode where Monica is dating a family friend who's like known her since she was like a baby. And I thought that was creepy, but it's a lot easier to overlook creepy if the man is attractive, and loved Magnum PI Tom Selleck. I'm really showing my age here, aren't I? Anyway, it's just so hard for me to kind of imagine that he suddenly only became attracted to her when she was 16 and ready to be snatched on up. It's really hard for me to believe that there's nothing of weird going on here.
We were all like one happy family, but needless to say, I didn't know that Beth was like getting these thoughts that she wanted me to be a happy man forever sort of thing, you know.
But once she reached the age of 16, Beth wanted to take their friendship to the next level.
So family friend is saying that they were like one happy family, and then he chose to marry one of the people that was in this supposed happy family. I feel like I'm getting way sicker just watching this again, and I'm doing it to myself, so there's no one to blame but me. Why, who decided to put this on television? Like, unless they wanted some crazy bitch like me to be outraged because it is disgusting and creepy and weird. But anyway, I also think it's interesting because the old dude who, by the way, I don't like bringing in people's appearances, but I genuinely think this creeps me out a lot more because to me, if I saw him, I would say he was older than 44, so I think that's also kind of a factor here. Interesting that the narrative here is she decided that they wanted to be more than friends, which, you know, potentially is true. That does not mean you have to go with it, and that does not mean that you're suddenly like forced to be in a relationship with her. He's an adult and he should have been a little bit more critical about this and maybe thought about not what people would think, but if it was morally and ethically a good idea. And I personally just don't know how anyone could think that it was a good idea. I just think it's interesting that the narrative is like, oh, she decided, like he had no say in it. Like, you have to be attracted to her also, like you fucking married her, so surely you were also complicit. Like, there are two people here to take into account. It's interesting that the age of consent in the UK is 16, and that right when she was 16, she decided she had some sort of feelings about her friend, though he called her family, so even this concept of what they were before is a little bit murky, but okay, let's keep going.
The age doesn't really bother me. It never has done. I don't see him as an old man or my dad or anything like that. He's just sensitive, like a big teddy bear.
Stop it. Stop it. I was concerned what people would think. 16, 40, it's a big gap, you know, it's a generation gap sort of thing, so it's like, what are people going to think?
However, when Andy realised Beth was serious, he decided to give this controversial relationship a go.
I'm very confused by this narrative, I have to say. Like, very rarely do I see a narrative of she wanted to be with him, and when he realized she was serious, he's like, fuck it. What a weird way to characterize a relationship. I'm sorry, I just think that's very strange. And I'm not saying that she didn't want to be with him, like, I'm sure she potentially did. The way they're putting the narrative makes me feel like they're really trying to brace the audience in a way. It's like they don't want you to freak out. You know, kind of when someone tells you bad news, so they tell you it in a way using comfortable words to kind of shelter you from the reality of the situation. That's what I feel like they're doing, and it's making me very uncomfortable because as much as you're gonna say she wanted it, whatever, still, it doesn't mean he had to be with her. I feel like it's almost like he was forced into this relationship. Like, he gave it a go, but he really didn't want to, but he did it anyway. I feel strange. I feel strange about this. I don't know if it's my cough medication kicking in or if it's just this, but I feel weird. I don't like it.
Oh my days. Right, just leave it. Leave it. Getting all irritated with you today. Getting all stressed.
That's not going to work. Is that gonna...
Chill, just chill. Chill. It is what it is. I have.
And once they'd fallen in love, Andy became determined to give Beth everything she had ever wanted.
Okay, like, I know this is a serious situation, I'm sorry, but I just really need to laugh at the fact that you show them, like, arguing and disagreeing on camera, which every couple does, and then you follow it up with like, oh, and they're so in love or whatever. That just makes me laugh, because I'm like, you're not really helping yourself here. And of course, like I said, every couple fights, but if you're doing a like 3-minute or whatever clip, you probably just want to cut that out because that doesn't make it look any better. So I had to laugh at that. And you know, there's that saying, you laugh so you don't cry, so I feel like that's also part of it. Again, the narrative of he's giving her everything she wants. And I mean, like, that's nice and everything, but I just don't know, like, I just don't like how they're really not addressing the fact that a relationship takes two people. And I don't know, I just feel like they're acting like she's entirely in charge, which there's always a more dominating person in a relationship, but still. He was a family friend and saw her grow up. Like, are you really gonna act like he's just there? I don't know. Maybe it's me being crazy. Entirely possible. It happens often.
It'll do.
This is Timmy, and he's 2. And this is Conway, and he's 1. I've always wanted to make a family, or to have a family. So I just thought Andy would be the perfect man to do so.
I don't like any of this. So this is also what to me is a little weird, and you know, maybe I'm also wrong about this, but she's 19 now, and they got together when she was 16, and their oldest kid is 2. So they pretty much had a baby immediately, which, you know, there are plenty of capable mothers when they're 16 or 17. There are plenty of capable mothers. It's just strange to me that they would jump into it immediately because the relationship was still relatively new. Like, there's so many things about this that I'm like, this is weird. Like, it seems very off. It's also interesting how they take these kind of controversial topics and they smash it into like a 2-minute clip. And I'm like, this requires, I want like 10 different parts of this because I'm so confused at how any of this happened. And it's also interesting that they left out of the narrative how the family felt. Because if I had a child and we had a family friend who started dating that child or adolescent, right when they were at the age of consent, I have to say I wouldn't really like that, and I'd have a lot of questions, because I'd be like, hey, maybe Steve is a fucking pedophile. Like, since when is he looking at our daughter, not looking at her as his daughter or as the daughter of a friend, but rather as like a potential mate? Like, when did this start? I feel like I would have questions, and I think it's interesting that they left that out. You know, maybe the family is entirely okay with it. And as much as, like I said, I don't think age gaps are inherently bad. You know, there are plenty of cases where it works or where it's suited based on personalities and everything. I definitely do think that there is something of a little bit unsettling, to me anyway, about a family friend specifically who saw this person at a younger, drastically younger age, then deciding to be with them and having children with them almost immediately. And I'm thinking they had children immediately because he's older and he's gonna die before her, and he's old, not really old, but in the sense that, you know, you wanna have children most of the time when you're still able to be active, and by the time they're 18, he's gonna be an older parent. So, you know, like maybe that's why they had kids immediately in a fresh relationship. I don't know. It's also hard for me to believe that nothing was happening before she was at the age of consent. Not necessarily even like sexual or anything like that, but just that there wasn't some kind of shady, you know, like you don't just develop feelings for someone the day of. Like, it's hard for me to believe that right when she turned 16 or whenever she approached him about having a relationship, that was the first time he ever looked at her in some type of way. Because if that was the first time and he just said, yes, let's give it a go, no, I don't believe that. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. So all of this is murky and weird and unsettling, and that's my conclusion. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think this is weird? Do you think this is not weird? Do you think they're just doing it to outrage someone like me because I think it's weird? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's get right into the fan art.